We're recording, we're live, and we're going to do this thing. So I missed you guys. If you are waiting on a reply message from me, know that it's coming. I kind of finished the month with a bang and craziness here with recitals and prom, and then we headed up north for a wedding and had some family days, and then the last couple of days here back in the cities have been family reunion days. So actually all my family is together right now with cousins and grandma and grandpa and aunts and uncles and everybody doing a big seafood fest, and it's just me and Judabug here. So it's been necessary rest and it's been good, but now I'm like, okay, let's get this show on the road. I got some stuff to do. Break's over. I'm feeling fueled up and fired up. Is everybody muted? Double check really quick so we don't have like background noise. Is that good? All right, we good? But what a month. Part of me wants to say, let's open mic this. I want to hear your takeaways from the month. And just like, can we just be local and all together and sit on my couches and sip on some tea and coffee right now? That's kind of what's in my heart, is that kind of a mode for this evening. I've literally been seeking the Lord all day. Chad had taken off with the kids a little bit ago, I don't know, this afternoon. I was thinking, great, I'm going to just get caught up on my messages and I'm going to work. And the Lord was like, no, you're not, honey. We need to chat and you need to fill your cup because you're tired and you're weary and you've been around people and it's time to fill your cup up. Sorry, I'm totally double checking these things here while I'm talking. So I'm coming tonight with no actual notes. I was like, okay, Lord, I want to be with you. And so we've just been hanging out and worshiping and pacing and walking and dancing and just been together, refueling and filling my cup. That's what I need sometimes, is alone time with the Lord to refill. Because don't you know, as a mama with kiddos or special needs journeys or with a business and a team, we're giving and we're pouring out a lot, and it's so necessary to fill up. But I was really thinking amidst that, he would give me such clarity as to what to talk on. And I wish I could come on tonight and be like, here is 10 steps to your rank up or whatever, like just have fancy smancy training. But that is not my gifting and it's not where we're going tonight. And so I kind of just feel like pulling back the curtain a bit on my reflections and what I sense the Lord saying for the next 60 days, which is terrifying and exhilarating all at the same time. But I feel like we're at halftime in like the Super Bowl. I know nothing about football, so just hang with me a second. But I feel like we have had half the game. Morgan, are you laughing? I feel like we're halfway through the game, and it's been intense and amazing and exciting, and we're in the lead, and it's halftime, and I'm pulling y'all to the locker room to kind of do a pep talk and say, rah, rah, great job, but here's what we got to do next for the next half of the game. I feel like we've had this 60-day run, March, April, May, 90-day run. It's been crazy, you guys, the momentum we're in, 90-day run. Yet God's saying, keep going. Like, he's not telling us, go ahead and take a break and just like sit back for a bit. For a lot of us, he's still saying, run. Have you guys sensed that and felt that? Our team is in such momentum. If you're brand new, you may not fully grasp what is happening right now throughout Plexus and throughout our team, but it is record-breaking, the momentum that we are in. And I really do feel like God is saying, okay, halftime, come together, unite again, let's celebrate, but let's hunker down because here's what's going on for the next 60 days. But I'm going to rewind. So let's go back to January a little bit, and then we'll kind of hone in. And I'm trusting that God's just going to show up and make my words flow, right? That what needs to be talked about tonight, we'll talk about. But if nothing else, it's just a delight to see your faces and just to connect and bring that unity and culture to our team. But at the beginning of the year, I really sensed strongly Sapphire in April. And some backstory to that is last year was a very hard year, as a wilderness year for me and for many on our team. I feel like there were quite a few throughout our team that just had a lot of life happening. And it was as if our businesses were kind of just maintained. Like there was some excitement, there was some ebbs and some flows, but God was doing a lot, setting the foundation secure. And every time you walk through a wilderness, it's not necessarily fun, but my goodness, the beauty that comes out of it, because it's this refining time where you are clinging to him and purifying yourself, your heart, your thoughts, right? so much good comes out of it, but I really didn't like being in it for so long at all. I had a bad attitude about it at times, and at times it was lovely. And coming into the new year, at the beginning of January, I really sensed strongly Sapphire in April. That felt very clear. Some of the identity of our team, of the fact that we're not just breaking jewels on our team, but ensuring that we're breaking healthy marriages, healthy families, that we are not leading people towards burnout, but towards businesses that provide time freedom and financial freedom, that we're equipping you to treat and handle your finances well, so that as it doubles, triples, quadruples, you're a flow-through center and a flow-through source, right? You're not getting further in debt or repeating bad habits. I don't know. There was just so much that God was kind of laying a foundation of, that this is Team Revive, that we're more than just a team that sells a pink drink. But God has a unique calling, I believe, on our team. And that this was going to be a big year. And so April, Sapphire, that was clear. And I remember thinking as I was typing that up, I was kind of just brainstorming, okay, well, man, Sapphire seemed big, you guys. Like, it just seemed bigger probably than any rank up ever. And it almost like just undoable. It had been daunting and just hanging there in front of me for so long that it was as if it just grew bigger and bigger. But I thought, well, if we were to do April, Sapphire, maybe Diamond by fall. I just kind of threw up my hands. There was no like breath of God on that. It was just thinking through that, okay, well, if we have really great momentum going into April, and then of course we've got Leaders Retreat in the summer, and maybe we'll just plan on the fall for Diamond. But like I said, there was no like unction to that. It was just my own processing as I was taking notes at the beginning of the year. And as many of you remember, January was kind of an odd January. It was one of those months of like, well, this is interesting that God said that, because it doesn't look like that right now. January was very odd. It wasn't our usual, everyone's making New Year's resolutions and hopping on board because they want to lose weight and change their finances. It was such an interesting month. It was not a record-breaking month for us. And then February was probably our lowest month of sponsoring to date. I think that February of 2015, when I was a silver ambassador, I am almost certain we added more ambassadors that month than our entire team did this February as an Emerald team. Isn't that crazy? But I'm willing to put money down on it. Our numbers were just so low. However, if you go back on our Zoom calls from January and February, and you go back at what we were doing at that time frame, February is when we did kind of that letter a day challenge. It was still like God was like, let's keep that foundation strong, y'all. And remember, I'm asking you to lean into me, not you, right? And we were focusing on heart level issues. We were working on kingdom-minded businesses, kingdom-minded perspective on what we do, on impact over sales and people first. And it just really felt like he was just setting the stage, ensuring our foundation was really secure for our takeoff. However, I don't think any of us would have guessed what was about to happen. In March, we had the iPad incentive, right? And a bazillion people earned iPads, and we went from enrolling like 20-something people in February, literally like 20-something people, I think it was. I should have written that down. In February, to enrolling 333. In March. Wait, yes. Did that make sense? 20-something in February, 333 in March. Our teams never added that many in a month, ever. And I looked back at last year, our biggest month last year, we had like 1 month or 2 months where we went like over 100. It was just a slower year last year. And in July, we had added like 100 and something. But from August through February, had not even gone over 100 new ambassadors. And you guys, in March, we added over 300 ambassadors. Well, that went right into April. We became a Sapphire team in April, adding 200 some odd ambassadors. And April was by far the most unique month with the Lord I've ever had. And someday I hope I'm able to articulate it and understand it. But it was almost as if, I don't know. Have you ever seen, like, in a movie or something, someone's, like, standing on a cloud and the cloud's moving, but like they're just floating almost. I felt like I was floating. I felt like I was in a bubble. I felt so close to the Lord. I felt so aware of what he was doing. I didn't feel like I was striving. I wasn't burning out. I wasn't stressed. I was just very aware of him and that he was doing something, and it was very unique. And I was aware of our team, and I'll get choked up, and the unity. And we were just this force to be reckoned with, moving forward together as this unit. And it was so overwhelmingly beautiful. But it was as if suddenly what had seemed like the biggest, most unachievable thing to me, it had grown so out of proportion to me, it was suddenly so doable, and we did it. And coming fresh off that, I was so curious what God was going to do next, but I remember distinctly feeling like Diamond seemed suddenly so small. Diamond seemed smaller than I've ever would have. I don't even know how to grasp what I feel in my heart towards it. I have no idea, besides the Lord, why it feels so doable. But ever since then, I've kind of felt like Diamond in July. And I want to start getting the nervous giggles even just saying that. I am like sweating my armpits out right now. But I feel like we're going to go for it. Now, if the Lord speaks up and he says, and there's that check in my heart, and he's right there saying, no, you got it wrong, I will be the first one to say, I got it wrong, and we're not going to. But as of now, we're going to continue our Diamond prep for next month. I had shared some of this on Momentum Maker, so those of you that are on that page, I kind of shared with you what my coach had thrown out as a goal, and she said, well, let's make sure, let's keep the sponsoring up. Here we had 2 big months of sponsoring, over 300 in March, over 200 in April. And so she gave us a low baller goal on 175. And I was like, all right, well, we got to go past 200. Well, we did. We totally went past it. We added 241 last month. I talked to her tomorrow, so I will keep you posted on Momentum Makers, what she lays out for us to be looking at this month as we prepare for our run in July. But based on convention and what's going to be released, based on the momentum of our team, everything's looking good. And that seems a little crazy, but it seems so exciting and so doable. And I do think there's a bigger picture beyond a rank, that's for sure. So what was interesting in that, though, you guys, is I never would have guessed, although it's silly that I didn't guess this, that May would be so hard. May, for me personally, was such a hard month. Many of you are aware of what we went through with Judah. His seizures came back with a vengeance after having a break for a couple of months and feeling like we had made headway. So that alone was hard. Lack of sleep and seeing these seizures wreck our son's body is hard. But beyond that, it was like God played a game of hide and seek with me. I mean, I really felt like, I've talked about this somewhere on one of our pages about this book, God, Where Are You? That's what I was doing in May. I was like, where did you go, Lord? Like, we just had the best month. And now where are you? Where are you hiding? And I don't really like this game of hide and seek. Like, he was gone. It felt like he wasn't, but it just felt like, holy cats. And I remember Chad saying at the end of April, he goes, now, Krista, just because that rank up looked that way, it doesn't mean that your next one will look the same. In fact, it probably won't, because God's constantly drawing us closer to him, right? And leaning into more and more dependency on him. And that's the biggest passion I have for our team. I do not want a team dependent on Krista Deary, nor do I want a team dependent on a handful of leaders. I want a team dependent on the Holy Spirit, because it's the only answer to life. Like, the only answer. I've gone through seasons where I was so dependent. Looking back, hindsight's 2020, right? I look back and realize how dependent I was on my pastor, how dependent I was on my husband, how dependent I was on my best friends for the answers, for the encouragement, for the wisdom, for the direction. And God uses those people in a multitude of counselors. There is such wisdom and safety, right? But over all of that, only one person has the answers that we need. And you guys have all discovered, I'm sure by now, that this journey ends up being so much more than posting on Facebook and people ordering from you. I mean, it just has this way of pulling back every layer of the junk inside you that you never, ever wanted to see, right? And so May, for me, was like, another one of those seasons of, okay, I'm entering a wilderness again. And I had to remind myself of the power of a wilderness. If you look at Jesus, and he was baptized and the Holy Spirit descends, right? And the Lord speaks. Well, what happens right after that? He's ushered right into the desert, right? It's I'm not Jesus, but there are patterns like that. And this was such a good reminder of that. But it did feel like that. It felt like, wow, we just had this glorious moment, and then I was ushered into a desert. And it took me a bit to remind myself of the beauty of these deserts, of these times of re-clinging to him and finding out what he's saying. Because what it takes for you to go gold won't be what it takes for you to go senior gold. And what it took for you to go senior ruby won't be what it takes for you to go emerald. What it took for us to go sapphire won't be the same leadership it takes for us to go diamond. And so there's constantly these seasons where you kind of have to pull back, you lean in, you learn, you grow, and you prepare, and that platform is set for that next launch. And I do feel like that was a lot of what happened in May. So tough month. Some of you even heard my tears. I cried to more people last month than I think I have in my life, maybe, except for when Jude was in the hospital. It was so crazy. I was so aware of how much grief was still lingering in my soul. And how desperate I felt. I think the weight and the magnitude of everything on our plate with our children and with Judah and with our team and carrying so many of you in my heart and the callings of God on your life and on your business, on your teams, I think it just was kind of coming in on me, and I tried to carry it myself, which was stupid. But the end of the month was redeeming, and I feel like I go a million tangents, and you guys are so gracious with me when I just start talking to you as if we're sitting on our couches here. But I wanted to quit. Like, I didn't really want to quit, but I kind of was throwing it out there like this toddler temper tantrum of like, I just need to quit, Lord. Like, I'm just tired. And there's a lot that Chad and I are sensing in our family that is changing. We are moving out of our home. We don't know where we're moving. And I will keep you updated as things continue to shift here. But I just felt like I can't do it. I can't do it, Lord. And I'm not reaching my personal goals. I don't know if I can steward this well. I felt like I was doing everything halfway, and I didn't like that feeling. And I went from just having to grieve that out and process that out and cry it out and pinpoint, golly, like, what are the actual layers in my heart here? That self-awareness that comes from this journey, right? I went from that to the end of the month, and I have my days all mixed up because it's just been a whirlwind. But something kind of came over me of, wait a second, I can't let the enemy win, and I've got to at least give it all I've got. I've got to at least give it my best shot, because that's pathetic. To just end the month in tears, that's just silly. And so I got my tears out, I got my prayers out, got things figured out, and then I talked with you guys on a live, I think, on Momentum Makers. Why did I do that? Because, to be honest, I even scared Chad. He didn't tell me this till afterwards, but he was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe you just did that. But here's why. I do believe in transparency. I believe in letting you guys into the journey, letting you in as honest as I can of here's where stuff's at. Here's where our points are at. And for a number of reasons, but one of that is because I don't want y'all to ever hold yourself back from being honest and real with your teams. It's a real temptation as you're trying to lead your team to not maybe want them to know of your fears or your shortcomings. But actually that's your first heads up to go ahead and start talking about them. Because I never want you guys to hit a bump in the road and feel like you're all alone in that. I hope you can lean on the fact that, okay, Krista mentioned this, that she too felt this way. I'm not alone in that, right? Because you're going to have these hard moments. You're going to have tears. You're going to have these moments of reflection of like, okay, what do I adjust? What do I correct here? And so I got on to be super transparent with you guys to let you into here's where our points are at. You guys, the beginning of the month, we were tracking way past Sapphire points. We were tracking so well. I was like, oh my goodness, we're just going to blow right past Sapphire this month. Talk about a follow-up month. This is amazing. After a big push, you don't always see that. And then all of a sudden, there was this slowdown around the 20th of the month. And Chad and I are tracking the points, and we're like, oh, no, this is not looking so good. And it was easy. It's so easy in that time to think, well, that happens sometimes. That happens. You do have fallback sometimes. Or it can be easy to justify, like, well, it's a seed planting month. Last month was really big. It's a seed planting month. It can be easy to justify. However, you don't want to go into justification before you've had clarification. That sounds so fancy. I've never said that before. Those are two big words. Anyways, you don't want to do that. If the Lord has said, sister, this is a seed planting month, then you settle for, that, okay, God said, like, this is not a month that I'm going to be focusing on the prize. This is a seed planting month. If that's what the Holy Spirit has spoken to your heart, you run with that. But if it's not, you're using it as a justification for a lack of results. I only know because I've done both. I've had months where I didn't reach my goal, and I gave justifications, but I did not have clarification from the Holy Spirit that that was actually truth. It was my way of comforting myself for not reaching after what I really wanted and what was really in my heart to do. And so I had a turning point in the month. I had some days of wrestling of like, do I share this with the team? Do we even try to re-hit it? It's going to take laying down some pride and ego and fears to let the team into the fact that our points did slow down. We weren't about to hit Sapphire again on our second month in. So do I go for that, or do I surrender it? And do I just say, this is amazing what we do have? Do I stay in the place of gratefulness? And is that all the Lord's saying to do with this? Or is the Lord saying to steward this more fully? And it's so important to have that clarity, isn't it? Because there's times he'll say both, you guys. And so I wrestled with it of like, what do I do? And am I willing to let them into this process? But I got that clarity, went live with you guys. What was it? The day before, last day of the month? I have no idea. Maybe it was the last day of the month. Morgan, was it maybe? It might have been. I don't know. I'd have no idea. I keep looking up at my calendar if you're wondering what I'm looking at, because I thought today was Friday almost all day until I realized it was Tuesday. So I'm that much messed up right now. But I let you guys into it to wanting to set an example of transparency, because by golly, you will definitely have times where you will have the rubber meet the road, and you're going to have to decide whether you're going to let your team in to where things are really at, right? But also because how in the world do we stay a unified force if you don't even know what's going on? Like, well, that's silly. And then beyond that, as soon as I recognized it would be pride, ego, and fear that would hold me back, I just wanted to squash it. I mean, that's just been the nature of my whole journey. Pinpoint a fear, go do it really quick and get rid of it, right? So the faster I pinpoint a negative attribute that I'm finding in myself, if I can get rid of it real quick, I love to do that. So that's why I did that. I think without makeup, looking really gross, I went live with you guys. And you guys blew me away, first of all, the last stretch of the month. But then God blew me away on top of it. To my left here, I have a whiteboard. And at the start of last month, I had a top 20 kind of like hot prospect kind of a list. These are people I'm following up with who have said they want to join, okay? And then as the month went on, that list grew to about 50 names of people that were like, I'm ready to join, or who we are really talking a lot. I thought I had that Apple Watch in the bag. I wasn't even sure what an Apple Watch was or why I'd want one, but I thought I had it in the bag. And I love using incentives like this because the beauty of it is it propels your business, doesn't it? Right? And it sets an example for your team when you go after something and they see you doing the same effort as them. So that was motivating anyways. I figured I'd figure out what in the world it was later. That last day of the month, the 31st, I had about an hour or two in the morning before the day went nuts. And that day we needed to clean our home for a showing. And I needed to go to the store to figure out what we were wearing to the wedding the next day. And I needed to iron Josiah's clothes for prom and figure out what he was wearing to prom that evening. Get 2 girls dressed and ready and hair and makeup done for their recital, and get Josiah off to prom, and then pack up a family of 10 to get Judah to be cared for the weekend, and get our family ready to be gone for the weekend, stay at a hotel, and go up to a wedding. It's a lot to do for a mama. Isn't that a lot to do? It was ridiculous. So I took that morning and I reached out to 17 people. I needed 4 more people to go for the watch. I reached out to 17, and I looked at Ellie. I was like, come on, let's go to the store. Like, I've done my power hour, and I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen from here. And by the end of that night, you guys, when I had earned the Apple Watch, none of those people that joined that day were from my list of 17 that I followed up with that morning. None of them were on my Hot 20 list at the beginning of the month. None of them, except for 1 name, so 1 out of 9, were on my list that I had added to as the month went on. So I get no credit. I take 0 credit for what happened, but it was such a beautiful reminder of what happens when you set your mind to something, what happens when you have determination, how differently you talk and even post. When we were at Target, I said, Eliana, I'm putting a Hail Mary post out there. I think Morgan taught me what a Hail Mary post is. Did I have to ask you? I was like, what's a Hail Mary? So now I do Hail Marys too. So I threw a Hail Mary post on Facebook, and then as she was trying on like swimsuits and whatever she needed for the weekend, I was checking messages, and then at intermission at the dance recital, I went out to the hallway. I was supposed to go to the bathroom, never found the bathroom, and I was doing messages. It was the craziest day. It was so crazy. But it was such a reminder that every rank up, every goal you achieve is here first before it's anywhere else. I set my mind to it, and I was so determined to get it, because at one point last month, Chad said it could be his Father's Day gift. Once he said it could be his gift, I was like, oh, I'm getting that watch for you, baby. Like, yes, that is your Father's Day gift. That is right. So all day I was like, Chad, I'm getting you that watch. I am getting you that watch. And he said later he wasn't too sure I'd be able to get that watch, because I had 1 day left, and it was crazy. We did the biggest dance party at an ice cream shop downtown White Bear Lake, when all of a sudden we saw in the back office, what I had posted and shared with you guys too, as our team went over 3,000 points again. That you guys get such credit for that. Blowing me away. We were watching the numbers increase as if it was our first time to rank up in our whole entire life. And then as all of a sudden it clicked over to 9 new level 1 ambassadors. We're jumping around in the parking lot, being the biggest dorks. And we came home and told the other kids, and we're dancing with them and just celebrated. But it was such a reminder that it won't matter, you guys, what IPA challenge I send to you, what training I give you, what YouTube video I send your way. We need those tools. Yes, we need all of it. We should constantly be learning. But it was a reminder that so much of this is here and in your conversations with the Lord. Because, man, my month was a roller coaster of emotions and of so many things just attacking my mind and my heart and my will to keep persevering. I felt tired by life. To be woken up at 5 a.m. every day with seizures, it kind of throws off your day. Many days in a row, it starts messing with your mind and with you what you feel capable of. But it was such a reminder to wake up to the attacks of the enemy, to wake up and stand my ground on what God's saying to do and stick the course no matter how tired I feel, but to trust him in this and set my mind to what he's saying to do, but also to have a call for transparency and unity as a team, because it was such a reminder that when we do that, y'all, we rock things. This team is legit, and I just could not applaud you guys more and thank you anymore for what you reminded me of as we ended out May. Thank you for your love and your grace as I pull back my layers and let you into my process. And that can be a scary thing as a leader. Some people would even say, never do that, never show your flaws. But my prayer is that my flaws and my journey just gives you hope, because I'm a hot mess express sometimes. Where do I even want to go with that? I really don't even know. I don't know. So I'm going to be keeping you posted once I talk to Michelle. I talk to her tomorrow to get a feel of the natural strategy behind what June should look like. And I'm still praying through some of it. And I know convention's going to be big too. And I'll keep you posted as far as July. But right now what I'm sensing is July will be late. We're going to lay this out and become a diamond team. How crazy is it that I'm talking to you about that right now? But I want to remind you amidst that beyond everything, we are people first. And beyond everything, we're going to be kingdom minded. You're going to have people come and you're going to have people go. You're going to have people say, yes, they're going to join you, and then they join another company. You're going to have people say they're going to join you, but they join you 4 years down the road. So many things. And so I just want to end with this really quick. This is something that was in our church foyer weeks ago. I've had it with me ever since, because the second I saw it, I was like, yes, this is our team too. This is how we function. I don't know if you can see that. Can y'all see that? What it says is, if we're not a good fit, check out these churches. And it lists out like 9 local churches. A very hands-open approach, because people are coming and they're going, right? Every Sunday as they're praying for and they're looking for a church. I love that they aren't trying to keep every person that walks in the door, but that their utmost desire is that every person that walks into that door finds the church home that they're supposed to be at. And what a bold statement. If we're not the right church for you, there's so many good churches in the area, and here's even a list of some that you might want to go check out. That is my desire as we do what we do, because it will protect you from having your feelings hurt. It will protect you from offense and from bitterness, and it will keep your love walk intact and a kingdom-mindedness intact, because we are all beyond Plexus ambassadors, right? We are God's people first. And so our utmost priority is making an impact in this world, loving people well and reflecting the love of Christ. It just happens that we also really love Plexus. And it's easy in network marketing. You get so passionate about what you do. Every person you come in contact with, you're like, oh my goodness, they'd be like the best Plexus ambassador. Or, oh my goodness, I hope they join my team. Or, oh my goodness, they need Vital Biome, right? Like, it's so easy because to us, it's on our mind like all the crazy time, because we are passionate about it. And it's what we think about day in and day out. We're posting about it. We're messaging about it. It's right there on our mind. It's easy for that to be consuming to where it's first place, even in our interactions with people. But I just really believe when we're kingdom minded and we see things from the perspective of Jesus Christ, it doesn't work that way. Because as we're at the grocery store or we're at the bank, well, we don't go, do people go to the banks anymore and like stand in line? Ignore that analogy. As you're at the grocery store, amusement parks, I don't know, where do people go? I feel like I'm home so often, but as we're out and about and we're meeting people, the utmost goal is to reflect Him. And we get to have this wonder of like, I wonder why God's connecting me with this person. And we can add them on Facebook and begin to get to know them with childlike curiosity as to asking the Lord questions. Lord, what do you want from this relationship? And it may be something in you that He's leading you to give to them, but guess what? It may also be something inside them that He wants to deposit in you and that you can learn from them. Or it may be that they need a friend, or they need to go out to coffee, or they need to share their heart, they need prayer, but they might need a pink drink, or they might just really need a good probiotic, right? There is such grace to this business when you live like that and you're open-handed like that, because then if someone comes to you and they say, you know what, I've loved being on your team, but I just actually joined another company, you can say what? Oh, I'm happy for you, and I really am going to be praying for you that that's the right fit for you, because my utmost desire is to see you find and discover and walk in the perfect will of God for your life. Or if someone comes to you and they're like, hey, like, I don't know, and it's probably my fault. I haven't really been consistent on my Plexus products, but I'm going to try these other things that I just got from my chiropractor. You're not going to be offended. You're not going to think about how your points are going to go back 5 points or whatever. You're going to be like, okay, yes, I'm praying for you. God knows exactly what you need in your body, and He's going to be faithful to figure out what that is with you. And so I'm going to be linking up with you, whether it's Plexus or something else. I just want to see you well and thriving in your role. It can seem scary to be open-handed with all your people, but no one wants to be controlled. No one. We lead a volunteer army. We lead a volunteer army, don't we? And when you have your hands open like this, yes, sometimes people will go. Yes, sometimes they're going to turn their subscription off. It's okay. Sometimes they're going to leave for other companies. That's fine. But guess what? Sometimes they also come back. Why? Because you didn't get your feelings hurt. You didn't get offended. You didn't shut them out of your life when they quit your business. Like, your hands are open. And so just as easily as they're able to leave and explore and be curious, and they're trying to navigate where they might be led, they also may just as easily, since your hands are like this, they can enter right back in. I've seen it so many times. And you're going to see as you go on this journey, your feelings will be hurt less. You'll be prone to offense less. You get to practice patience so much more. But if I could lift that off of you, because I know in the beginning it can be hard. It's really, if you have 10 people in your back office, it's really noticeable who turned their subscription off, right? Or who stopped ordering. Trust me, as you go, it gets easier. It gets a lot easier. And I think the sooner you can hop off the emotional roller coaster and lay out your whole team and all your customers and everybody that you know, all your family members, all your close friends who maybe they're still laughing and shaking their head, the sooner you can have it out like this, the sooner you're going to find such ease and such grace in this business. So I don't know all that God has stirred in your heart for this month. I think it's going to look different for all of us. But I do know as a whole, our team is in momentum. If you are not experiencing it right now, I want to encourage you to ask the Lord questions and discover, is God saying that's okay? It's just not that season yet for you. Trust me in this. Or is he saying, hey, this is totally your season, but let's just correct a couple of things. Ask him questions. Sit before him, okay? Don't miss those beautiful opportunities of curiosity with the Lord to find out what he's saying over you specifically in this season. Because I know last year I had close friends, Jules in this company, reaching ranks, getting the $10,000 prize in Hawaii. It's so easy to be jealous or to think like, what am I doing wrong? But now I'm thinking, man, had I only known what was coming around, it was so worth it. And I wish I would have been better in my journey of trust in those times instead of being concerned or wrapped up in the questions. You know what I mean? Because God had it so perfectly written. Your journey is unique. And your journey is going to need to be told to many. There are people that need to know your story because my story will mean nothing to them. It won't be relatable at all. They need your story. And so are you willing to trust him enough to continue to walk this out no matter what? No matter if it doesn't go your way right now, no matter if it's going great or not, are you willing to trust him? Because he's seen the end from the beginning and he's got a perfect, beautiful plan specifically for you. And this is just one part of that plan. So if I can encourage you in anything is to get closer to him and lean in. Beyond that too, my second encouragement is to time block well and to rest well. We've ran hard for 90 days, you guys, and we're still running hard, and the momentum seems to be increasing with the new products coming out and the announcement of that convention. It's very important that you take time to rest. It's very important to take time off, take the whole weekend off if you need to, set parameters around your time, around your marriage, and around your time with your kids. If you're married or you have children, please do that for me. I want to really protect you from reaching a state of burnout, okay? Let's pray really quick. God, you have been so faithful, just so faithful. In and out of season, in times where everything seems to go amazing, and in times where it doesn't make sense, you've been right there. So God, I just pray over everyone here and over everyone in our team that they would be able to lean in closer to you and discover what you're saying. That they would find peace despite their questions, clarity, wisdom, direction, that they'd be able to pinpoint their goals because they've synced up with your goals for them and their team. That you give them revelation as even to the calling on their life and the calling on their team and the purpose for their team. I think each team is unique. Their culture is different and unique as well. So I just pray for further insight and clarity and revelation over each one of us. I just thank you for what you're doing and for what you're preparing us for. I pray, Lord, that we'll run this well, run from a state of rest, in sync with you, People first, impact over sales. In Jesus' name, amen. I love you guys so much. I meant to talk business with you, but that's okay. We'll just throw it on the team page and stuff. Sound good? I've kept you long enough. I love you so much, so much. You are beyond a dream come true. I know I say that all the time. You are very prayed over and just so treasured to my heart. Sleep tight. We'll talk to you guys soon.